finalists emerge as voices of truth and stability in these dark and deceptive times. And now, ladies and gentlemen, for the 100th episode of the Frontlines Clone Wars podcast, here is your panel. First, we have a content writer and auxiliary co-host for the Frontlines, Kyle Avery. We have the host and creator of the Sarlacc Pit podcast, Chris Hotline's Planet Smith. We have the creator and host of the Geek Out Loud podcast and about a bajillion others. We have Steve Glosson. And now the man of the hour, the creator and founder of the Frontlines Clone Wars podcast. We have Michael Cohen.
I'm not going to stand right in front of you guys.
Please do.
You? Okay.
Please
stand right in front of Steve. Thanks for bearing with us while we got our technical glitches going. We've also got with us, you probably already noticed,
yes,
Skyping in from the HoloNet, we've got Matt. So let's bring Matt up. Matt, say hi. Hey, everybody. You're a little quiet now. I'm going to turn you back up.
But nobody can see me though, right?
Yeah, nobody can see you.
Oh, damn. I had a good thing going too. It's okay. Nothing crazy though. It's good to be here. Good to be here.
Awesome. So there you go. Now you're full screen, and everybody can see that we can't see you.
Unless you turn into a swirly little circly thing.
I already used that.
I know, but I stole it. Listen,
I want somebody to fix this. I want to be. I got to be in the celebration somehow. At least video-wise. Come on. What's going on?
His voice is there. We're all right.
Your voice is here, so we're gonna take what we can get right now.
We've got the best.
All right.
Okay, so for those who may not have ever listened to Frontlines, the Clone Wars podcast before, you're tuning into the 100th episode right now. We're actually broadcasting live to Ustream. So we're live on the internet, so don't say anything that you regret, because if it's on the internet, it doesn't go away. So what we do at Frontlines is we cover the Clone Wars, the TV show. So every episode comes out, and then Matt and I will sit down and we'll go through a recap that Kyle has written for us, and then we'll sort of pull it apart piece by piece, say what we liked, say what we didn't like, give our opinions completely unsolicited, and just pretty much talk about the Clone Wars specifically. Within the last year, we've had another guy come online, Tim, who does our news. And so he does some news on our website. So you can go to clonewarspodcast.com and read about all of the latest news. He's even posting news about Celebration right now, which, I mean, I told him to because that's his job. But I wasn't sure if he'd keep up with it.
Is he here?
No, he's not here.
No,
I posted about the panel for the 1313 game on Facebook, and then Tim took that and posted it on the website. So
there you go.
I can see in Miami. Tilt the camera down.
Cool. So I've been doing the podcast since the beginning. I created Frontlines, the Clone Wars podcast, and actually the reason why I created the podcast is this guy right here.
Chris Hotline's Planet Smith.
Actually, it's Steve. Steve does a podcast called Geek Out Loud, and he was on a podcast called Starkville House of L.
I'm on a podcast called Starkville House of L again, sir.
Yes, and it's
We're
been
sorry.
resurrected.
We're sorry.
Well, it's just like Superman, right?
Yeah, we have to apologize though every time we think about it or talk about it being brought back.
You just flew the planet backwards, and now it's back.
Yep.
So I listened to this guy talk about Smallville, which is a Superman TV series, and then pretty much just everything geeky, and I thought, that doesn't sound so difficult. I could probably do that.
How'd that work out for you?
And it's a lot more difficult than it seems, particularly when you've got somebody like Steve on your podcast.
I mean, whoa! What does that mean? I've been on one episode.
You've been on 3 episodes.
Oh, I've been on 3 episodes.
But who's counting?
Yeah, except I'm not.
You're otherwise.
Awesome. So I decided to do that, and then have, partway through the first season, covering it by myself, doing the recaps, doing everything on my own. I realized that it was a little bit more work than I kind of wanted to have in the first place. Yeah. So I said, you know, I'm gonna put it out there to everybody who's listening, who wants to co-host this show with me, and I'd say, you know, open submission. Just send in an MP3 of you doing a segment from Frontlines, and we'll take it from there. Whoever's the best wins. And we got one submission. and
I killed it.
And I think it's because everybody else knew that Matt was going to be submitting, and so they just decided not to submit at all.
Actually, it was because I let him win, just to clear that up.
There you go.
Cohen, you told me not to worry about it.
Hey, my submission was not small. It was a 45-minute recap of the season 1 finale with Cat Bane, and I put in audio clips. I killed it, I think, and I think Mike's right. Everybody got scared. I don't know.
It's true, because originally I would just come on at the beginning of the podcast and just start talking, and then I would just keep talking, and then I would talk some more, and then I might do a conclusion, and then the episode would end, and there'd be some music at the end. But when Matt came on, he was like, why don't we have segments maybe? And how about we put some intros to those segments? And ever since then, we've actually had something called production value. So it's been nice. It's been nice to have somebody else to do that for me, so that I can just talk about Clone Wars and get mad about, I don't know, a lot of different things. Kyle will probably know the best what I rant about.
Yeah, I still remember your rant from season 1 where you got mad about some R2-D2 thing and went on some hour-long thing. But R2-D2 is the best character in Star Wars.
No, it's not.
No, what it was is I was the first person to send in hate mail, not because I hated you, but because you kept asking for hate mail. You're like, somebody criticize me, please, because I think I'm the god of podcasting or something. So I was like, get off your high horse and shut up about R2-D2.
So there you go. Send in hate mail to your favorite podcast, and you'll be on their 100th episode celebration. That's how you get up here. But yeah, where was I? I've lost track.
I'm talking about Matt coming on.
Talking about my stupendous and excellent co-hosting duties.
Yeah, so Matt came on and he stepped my game up, and the podcast got a heck of a lot better and a heck of a lot longer. It kind of doubled the length of an episode. But ever since then, Matt and I record every week. We pretty much record on Mondays unless I'm busy or he's busy. Or, during the season. We kind of take the summer off. We always say that we're going to do summer episodes, and then we never do summer episodes.
Nope. Until I bug him about it, maybe get 1 or 2.
Yeah, and then maybe one will come out. But actually this summer we've had, 5? Because we had to get to 99 so that we could get to 100 for today. So you know, we put ourselves under the gun. And
I've done that before. I know that feeling. Of rushing to get to that super 100 by such and such a date. That can be rough.
When is the 100th episode of Geek Out Loud, by the way?
The 100th episode of Geek Out Loud at this point will be sometime in 2017.
I was inspired to podcast by this guy. So he was doing it before me, but now I have my 100th episode. And what are you on right now?
I just released episode 65 for the second time. Listen, he was inspired by a podcaster that left out a whole third of an episode on his last episode. You're listening along, it's like, and now we're going to talk about The Dark Knight Rises.
Dead silence.
Literally for an hour. And then it's like, and now we'll talk about that awesome Man of Steel teaser we saw. And I started getting emails and tweets saying, you forgot an hour. And I'm like, no, that was just a moment of silence we did. It's like, no, it was an hour of silence you did. And sure enough, I left that up. So yeah, you got some good role models there, buddy.
And that's why we started 15 minutes late. So there we go. So I mean, Matt and I have been kind of humming along, but then StarWars.com stopped doing recaps on their website. Which we were stealing and then using on our show, which they didn't seem to have a problem with, so everything's good. They let me have this panel, so they must not care that much. So when they stopped doing that, I realized I can't write the the recaps. I don't have enough time. I'm far too important for that sort of thing. So I found some college student who listened to the podcast and said, hey, write the recaps for us. And Kyle was like, yeah, I'll write the recaps.
Write the recaps rather than worry about your personal education and betterment.
Oh, far more important. Did my education get me up here at Star Wars Celebration 6? No.
Well.
No, but actually what happened was, it was right before Celebration 5, I emailed Mike and was like, hey, do you need any, help with reporting stuff from C5? Because I knew he had gotten a media pass and that gets you in free. And I'm like, there's no way I can afford going to this convention, but if they're gonna get in for free doing media stuff, why not? I'll throw my name in the hat. And he was like, yeah, better luck next time, buddy. And then after C5, he's like, help! So I ended up here.
That's a different perspective on it.
This is pretty much how it went. He's like, yeah, maybe next time, I'll let you know if I need some help or something. A couple weeks later, he's like, yeah, we need your help, like now. He's like, well, in the season 3 premiere, they showed 2 episodes on the same day, and he sent me an email over the weekend and was like, yeah, we don't have a recap for either of those first 2 episodes. Can you crank that up on Monday? Thanks. So I was like, yeah, sure. No problem.
Monday about 6:30 Pacific time would be fantastic.
Yep.
And Kyle was all like, well, I do have a paper due then. And Michael was all like, no, you don't.
Let's be honest, Kyle's studying film. There's really no papers to do in that.
Not really.
No, not really. You just kind of goof around with a video camera. So, yeah.
I do write papers. I've written Clone Wars recaps that are longer than papers I've turned.
That's because the episodes are so in-depth and amazing.
Yeah,
That's how we can talk
The
about
more I
them.
like an episode, the longer a recap I'll write.
How much do you editorialize in a recap? Speaking of that, you say the more you like it, the longer you'll write.
That also depends on how much I like the episode, because now StarWars.com has started doing recaps again, so I'll take those and use them as sort of a baseline to work from, and if it's an episode I really like, I'll kind of go through and pick it apart and add my own stuff to it. If it's one I didn't like all that much, I'll kind of just leave it as is. So
Admissions of plagiarism.
I didn't say plagiarism, I said less editing.
Plagiarizing. Well, the 100th episode of Frontlines.
No. When it's plagiarizing is when I don't have time to write the recap, so I tell Matt, and he says, okay, I'll do it, and he just takes it right off StarWars.com.
I just copy off StarWars.com. Yes.
Yeah. Those recaps, by the way, those recaps are a little bit hidden. You have to go into the pictures, the slideshow pictures, and then cycle through the slideshow pictures in order to get the chunks of the recap.
So call it plagiarism if you want, but I gotta go and copy and paste from 20 different pages.
I have to do so much work to copy people's stuff.
Yeah, they don't even put it on the same page for me anymore.
It used to just be one long page. I guess they figured out what we were doing.
It used to be just block the text and copy.
Hey, I do have to say too, a little behind the scenes also about what me and Mike do is, we don't edit at all. So what you guys hear is what we record. We don't do any editing except for adding in the end and the beginning audio. So it's basically like a live podcast. So if you see mistakes in there, and it's because we don't edit, right, Mike? We just go with it, man. It's live and let's do it. That's why we don't talk between episodes. We don't discuss it right when we get on the podcast, and that's our initial thoughts. So a little behind the scenes there.
Yeah, it's pretty much exactly what you're getting right now, which is us making it up as we go, which is something I learned from Indiana Jones, so I consider it good advice.
Which is something that you promised me would not happen.
I did tell you that we had like an outline, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we do kind of have a little bit of an outline, because if anybody's been down to the exhibition hall today and seen the chalk drawing that's going on, there's a little bit of Clone Wars news for that. Other than the fact that Darth Maul's foot will be featured in Season 5. We got that at one of the panels earlier this morning. And Justin Bieber planet confirmed for Season 6.
I don't know, I think
that's a Michael Cohen exclusive right there.
But this chalk drawing, in the center of it, it says, what was it? What does it say?
I think it says who will fall.
Yeah, who will fall, yeah. Who will fall. So it's kind of it's intimating a little bit that maybe we might be
Who
saying,
will fall?
Yeah, and it's got Palpatine in the middle, and then it's got a bunch of little circles around with pictures of characters, and there's like
Targets over their faces.
See, I don't even remember all. Well, no, there's Hondo, there's Ventress, there's Pre Vizsla. The two that I'm predicting will fall that are on the image are Adi Gallia and Duchess Satine. That's my personal guess.
I bet it's a play on words and they all fall at some point or another. There's going to be a lot of skinned knees in Clone Wars
well,
season 5.
there's also there's Ahsoka and Captain Rex. I don't think they're gonna. Well, maybe they'll fall.
Who
in
will
Steve's
fall?
literal interpretation.
well, and we've also got Darth Maul is on there.
Yeah, right.
So-
Darth Maul and Savage.
Yeah, so there's a lot of characters there that are what I would consider loose ends, just kind of running around,
Yep.
you know, loose ends with lightsabers.
Yeah.
Just running around, you know.
And listen, the
cutting
last
people
thing you want is a loose end with a lightsaber.
down. Exactly.
That's dangerous. Those things just start flopping around and things get cut off. It's dangerous. Lightsabers flying everywhere.
See, usually
I thought
lightsabers lead
C5,
to
C6 tips were done, but there's
Sorry. Yeah.
C6 tip number 6.
Tie up all your loose ends, especially if you have a lightsaber.
So yeah, I don't know. I'm thinking you might be right on some of those because some of those characters don't appear in episode 3. I think everybody's going to expect maybe Ahsoka to go, but I think that's a long shot. I think she'll be around for a while longer.
Yeah.
I think if Hondo's on there,
Yeah.
it's going to be Hondo.
It's going to be Hondo.
I mean, because who is the person who's going to cause the least amount of ripples in Star Wars fandom? They killed Hondo!
That would be me.
For some of us, Hondo is one of our favorite characters.
Who's some of us?
Well, from the...
Okay.
Yeah, look at that.
There we go.
That's
There's
fair.
Yeah.
At least 10% of the audience.
You know, I just realized Cad Bane's a loose end, and I don't think they had him on that picture. So
Cad
maybe
Bane
he's.
isn't done.
Cad Bane is going to be digitally inserted into the next release of The Empire Strikes Back.
You know, I don't know that I'd complain about that.
Vader will be like, no disintegration. Be like, I can't promise it.
Of course, by then he'd be all old and hunched over, and
Not
Vader'd
necessarily.
be like, no disintegration. He'd be like, say what?
Yeah. Not necessarily. You don't know how those things age.
Yeah, he's a Duro.
Duro? Not a bit. What's a bit?
A bit of the finger and Dan.
Thank you. Okay, yeah. I get
Cantina
it.
band. Yeah.
You're so much louder than me, Matt.
I'm sorry.
I feel like I have to yell. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the 100th episode of Frontlines.
Don't do the shirt show.
There's a
Did
reason
you
why.
give it away in church yet?
But yeah,
What did he
you've
say?
completely derailed me.
I'm sorry. Hondo. Dead.
Hondo dead. So, I don't know. Let's find out. Who do you guys think is gonna die? Just shout it out.
Alderaan.
Alderaan.
Be a massive
Satine?
retcon.
Yeah. I think Satine's gonna die, and then Obi-Wan is going to get really mad.
Go to the dark side.
No, not go to the dark side, but just
So you're calling Maul kills Satine,
yeah.
and Obi-Wan then kills Maul.
Yeah.
Yes.
Again.
Again.
I mean, just listen, poor Obi-Wan, he can't catch a break. He's like, Sith Lord's our speciality. He hasn't killed one.
But he's had a whole lot more experience fighting them than we thought he did when
he-
episode 3 first came out.
Yeah, he maims them like it's nobody's business, but he hasn't killed one yet, so.
Well, Count Dooku, I don't even think he lands a hit, right?
Oh, yeah.
Like he gets like 1, 2, 3, and then he gets hit in the leg and it just goes down.
Yep. Oh,
Like,
he's
it's
like,
like, oh!
In episode 3, he gets like smashed under some, like, what do you, I've got no words. Words escape me. I can't speak.
Yeah, some scaffolding. I
Yeah,
think
scaffolding is a good word. That's a good word.
Yeah. Yeah. Again, Steve has derailed me. Actually, that's a good time to let's break and let's do our door prize. And our door prize, if you can bring me the what are they called? Those little things that come in the little balls.
They're already
The
there.
little Star Wars guys.
Oh, the pod thing. Yeah, yeah.
Fighter pod. Yeah, there you go. We got a fighter pod that we're gonna give away to one lucky person. You should have been handed.
The lovely crystal, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you.
I can't throw.
You should have been handed a little handbill. This is the one that says CloneWarsPodcast.com.
Oh, you didn't get one?
Some people got them, I think. And
out, it's not on the way in. There should be some.
Well, we're looking for number 77. So if somebody's got number 77.
It's a good number.
Somebody got number 77?
Should be on the back.
There we go. We got a winner. You're the lucky winner. Here, let's come over here so the cameras can see. What's your name? Omar? Yeah. And you're on Frontlines, the Clone Wars podcast. Every dream you've ever had is coming true right now. And you're getting a fighter pod.
Okay, thank you.
It's random, so I don't know. That might be Darth Maul. It might be one of the, I don't know, one of those little snaggletooth dudes. It might be, might be that guy that walks around with the juicer. That guy in like the orange gear on the Vespa. He's just got like a juicer.
Ice cream, man.
That's a memory core.
Oh, it's a memory core.
I didn't know memory cores could make ice cream.
There's an app for that.
There you go. How long are we going? How much?
Thank you, Omar.
Thanks so much. 6:30. Okay.
Yeah, thanks.
6:30. What you got now, outline boy?
Mike, are you giving away any t-shirts yet?
No, well, we've given away a few t-shirts earlier today. We haven't given away one of these awesome t-shirts that are especially for C6. But we've given away some other t-shirts. We're going to give away that t-shirt at the end of the panel. But right now, let's talk about favorite episodes of the Clone Wars. So, off the top of your head, yeah, it's just gut instinct. Everybody who listens to the podcast already knows mine. So I'll go last.
Yeah, mine's the same, Trespass.
Yeah, Trespass?
Are we picking just one?
Which one was
Are we going,
Trespass?
Like, one for each season?
No one. Was it season 1?
Well,
Yeah.
tell us, why is it your favorite episode?
Me?
Yeah, you said
Because he's Chris Hot Ice Planet. Come on.
That's fair.
It's just always...
It's like his
I
people.
don't know, it's just always my favorite episode. I really can't say why. It's just really cool.
It's just an awesome episode.
And we already know that we're getting snow this next season.
Yeah, of Return to Snow, so maybe something they can compete with Trespass.
That'll be my
So now
favorite.
Trespass is the one with the big hairy bits? What's a bit? No, what are the big hairy
No,
things
towels.
called?
They're towels.
Not Yesums.
Not Yazoo.
Not Yesums.
Those are the ones with the teeth and the nose.
Okay. They're the ones-
These are all racist generalizations of alien species, but that's okay.
Well, what was the guy that sang Jabba's Palace in the
He's a
special
Yesum.
edition? He's a Yesum,
He's a
right?
Yesum.
Yeah.
That guy. Yeah. There we go, Steve singing on a podcast. It wouldn't be a podcast with Steve without
What?
that.
Do I have to pick just one?
Yeah, you
I could pick
No,
like...
not an arc, one episode.
Well, I'm not talking about just one arc. I'm talking about like one favorite episode from every season, or
No, one episode.
Okay. If I one episode, I would probably have to go with Carnage of Krell.
Yes.
Just because that was the one that when I watched it the first time, I had the strongest reaction to. It was just like, oh my gosh, I can't believe it. Was just great moment
Which
after
one
great
is
moment.
which one is Carnage of Krell?
That's the last one in the Ibarra arc.
Okay.
With from season 4, and it was starts off with Fives and Jesse about to be executed for disobeying Krell in the last episode, and then the clones all decide not to execute them and kind of lay their weapons down and disobey Krell, and then Krell orders them against each other. You got clones fighting clones, and you think they're Barnes at first, then you realize what's going on, and then they go to arrest Krell, and he pulls out his double-bladed lightsabers and goes all crazy on himself. Yeah, I just thought that episode start to finish was freaking awesome.
I was most disappointed by the Krell arc because I really relate to characters like Dexter Jetster because I'm a fatty, and so when I saw the previews and I saw his species, what's his species, a Bith? When I saw the Bith with the 4 arms swinging the double-bladed lightsabers, I thought this is going to be amazing. Bith Dexter Jetster is now like a Jedi, and that's going to be great. And then he was bad, and I was so sad, Michael. I was sad. It made me sad.
It hurt your heart a little bit?
It did hurt my heart. And then he died.
Because the other guy you have to think about, like, as a role model, as you expressed, that is a fact.
Yeah.
Is Jabba the Hutt.
Yeah, or the Rancor Keeper.
Oh, Jabba the Hutt, bad guy through. Rancor Keeper, he's got a sensitive side of him.
Yeah, he does.
Right?
He's really, he's
not
a nice
afraid
guy.
to cry, right?
He squeaks weird when he cries. That's a weird, yeah, that's a good one. Yeah,
On Blu-ray, they're gonna add a scene of him giving the Rancor CPR to try and bring him.
Well,
in the next Blu-ray release, though, yeah.
if the Clone Wars keeps going past episode 6, we'll find out that the Rancor didn't in fact die and just has cybernetic
He went and
enhancements.
saved Boba Fett from the Sarlacc pit.
Yeah.
Don't know where their bond came from, but he went and did that. Yeah. Favorite episodes?
Have you actually watched the Clone Wars?
What is this? You know, whenever anyone says, "What's your favorite episode?" I immediately jump to, and I always go with what is my first initial thing to say, and I always jump to Ambush, the very first episode on the TV series, because of the focus on Yoda. I love the glimpse of Empire Strikes Back Yoda that we got. In the moment where he's in that cave and he's talking to each individual clone trooper and he's telling them why they're different and why they're special, it's like, to me, that shows the wisdom and just the compassion and just how awesome Yoda is. It's not just in his fighting, it's what he does leading up to those moments, and he's so wise and he's so understanding of what these guys needed in that moment, and he just gives it to them. And so I really, honestly, that is one of my favorite. I can't, it's the one that I immediately go to as being a favorite, is that particular episode. But there's been so much good since then, and you said no arcs. Yeah. But I mean, since the latter half of season 3, that's what we've got, are arcs. You know, and I mean, it's hard to pick one standalone kind of thing out of that. But if I had to, it'd be Ambush.
Well, as we hinted at before, mine is Trespass.
Oh no, we flat out said it.
Trying to a little bit of an artistic transmission there, but that's
Matt knows where I'm coming from.
What about Matt?
Oh
yeah, Matt's
let's see, I'm going with, wow, it's tough. I want to say Hostage Crisis, but another part of me is saying Revenge, only because, you know, it kind of brings me, I love when the Clone Wars brings in and some of the movie stuff, as far as Darth Maul, obviously. I know a lot of people don't like that, but I love them bringing Darth Maul back and seeing what they can do and having Sam with her. It just exceeded my expectations. But I don't know, Hostage Crisis, I think, is going to do it because I love Cat Bane, I love the style. It reminds me of Clint Eastwood, my favorite cowboy of all time. So, I don't know, I guess I'll go Hostage Crisis. It's tough though, tough.
What's the one where Cy Snoodles killed Zero?
That was Hunt for Zero.
That was a good one.
Wait. You said I could only pick one episode. He just mentioned 2.
I'm Steve. And well, I'll tell you this too, like, he made me think about like the episode where Chewie shows up. Like when Chewie stands up in that slave trader and like just turns and is Chewie, and they've got like the original John Williams music playing, I choked up. I was like, he's back, it's Chewie. You know, I was so glad to see him. That is like so weird. It came out of nowhere. It was great.
That just kind of happened.
That was like a holiday special or something.
That was a little bit of holiday special Wookiee action.
Yeah, that was a back and forth conversation.
Lumpy, I think that was Lumpy.
Yeah.
Well, mine is Trespass, which is from season 1. So we've got actually a lot of favorite episodes from season 1, considering we're going into the 5th season. It's pretty amazing that first season sort of just laid the groundwork so well, and it's just so great wall to wall. And for me, it's Trespass pretty much above everything else, with the exception of Bounty from this last season.
Oh, my Lanta Bounty was so good. And what was the one where they were on like the flute? Was they on Felucia and they were helping the turtle people, but the bounty hunters were there when we first met Himbo? Bimbo? He's a bit with a hat. What's a bit?
Did you talk about Embo? I don't know if we know what species Embo is.
But we saw him in this. What was that episode called?
Bounty Hunters.
That was Bounty Hunters.
Yes.
Yeah. I love that episode. It was so good.
This has turned into Frontlines, the Clone Wars podcast, 100th episode, Revenge of the Bith.
That's clever.
That's good. But yeah, trespass for me is gonna. I'm trying to finish my thought.
Sorry.
Trespass has. It's actually the reason why it's my favorite episode is a little bit controversial, and people might throw things at me, particularly Steve. So I'm gonna take a step over here. Because it's kind of actually a lot like a Star Trek episode.
Ooh, easy. Bad language, come on.
Okay, you gotta explain that one.
So the thing that I love about classic Star Trek and classic the Next Generation is that, like, let's go down to a planet, get involved.
See, like you said Star Trek and somebody's walking out in the back.
And somebody started crying. I broke a rule, I'm sorry. So they'll go down to a planet, we'll learn about a culture.
Yeah.
And then the heroes will not, just sort of impose their belief structure on that culture, but they'll try and help them, make their way to peace.
Number one. It's a snowy planet.
But they're Jedi.
Dress warmly. Take it away, team. Dress warmly.
Well, and that's the thing about Star Trek that makes Star Trek kind of lame, is that you get a bald guy and a dude with a beard going down and a blind
planet,
dude.
number one.
Yeah, and they just kind of talk through their problems.
Would you like to hear me play my flute?
There you go. And a pan flute is not a very intimidating instrument. But with Star Wars, what we get that same thing with the Jedi, but then they have lightsabers and the Force.
Well, until you had the whole speeder thing going on where they were in that episode that was so awesome.
And some Narglatch.
I don't know what that means.
They're kind of like a bit.
They're the things that the myth ride on.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. They're like the big. They're the big.
Are they like a
horse.
tauntaun?
Not so much.
They're fiddling and spiky tautauns. In fact, they don't look very comfortable to ride because they got like blades coming out.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. That was good. That was the whole thing though. It was like they were preventing war, but they were having to go to war. And the blue people were in that one. That's the George Lucas's character.
Yes.
His species. Biff?
I think you're thinking Chiss, but they're actually
Chiss.
Pantorans. I should just always have Jason standing over there to correct us. And
Thank you, Jason.
You're welcome.
See, this is like when we're at home and, Mike and Matt are talking on the podcast and like, oh, what's the name of that species? And me and Jason are like yelling it at the computer.
I know, I'm all like, it's a myth!
You good?
Chris said, Chris looks at me and says, you really do that? That's classic Hoffa explainer right there, guys.
I don't think.
So let's take a break from talking about the Clone Wars, and let's go back to talking about you guys up here. Because Chris, you do another podcast.
Yes, I do.
What podcast is that?
Starlight Pit Podcast.
Just get up on the mic. Just
Starlight
right there.
Pit Podcast. Is
Don't
that better?
pop your, don't pop.
Yes, sir.
Your mic doesn't like you.
And what would you like to know, Mike?
Well, what do you guys talk about on Starlight Pit?
Anything and everything but the Clone Wars.
But the Clone Wars.
Yeah,
Why do you avoid the Clone Wars?
Just Matt, right?
Because Matt's my co-host.
Because you stole my co-host
Yes, I did.
for your show.
And
We talk about the Clone Wars once in a while. In the news.
Oh, and you're treading on my territory. You're lucky I don't have a switchblade and a sensor.
And I think he spends more time with me on my show than he does on your show. So.
He does. He does. And then he also goes on trips with you. But when I fly all the way out to Orlando for Star Wars Celebration, he doesn't fly here. He just Skypes in.
Yeah.
I was hoping the Frontlines would pay my accounting of that. We're working on that. Maybe next time.
I was hoping Frontlines would pay my way, but that didn't quite happen. So you guys just talk Star Wars in general?
Yeah,
with
pretty
the
much
news
anything. We basically do a little bit of news. I like to do Star Wars and pop culture, kind of like what the Forcecast started, but I do my own version of it. And then we just pick a particular topic that whichever guest we have.
You've never asked me.
Actually, I have.
Oh, no, really?
Yes, I did.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You actually responded negatively, but anyway.
Oh, really? That must have gone to Derek.
But, and then we'll pick a topic, say, when Bethany and Riley come on, we'll just decide a topic that they want to do as well as we do, and then we just beat it to death. Literally.
Just
For
talk
like
about all the
2 hours.
minutiae,
All the what?
the minutiae, the little things, the details.
Sure, sure. You got
Okay,
points.
It's by fans, for fans, and with the fans. We actually encouraged on that podcast people to come on and talk about a specific topic. So that's kind of what the difference is between our podcast and every other podcast is we encourage people to come on if you're just a regular fan or not. Just have a good time talking awards, man.
Yeah, because Mike doesn't like having guests on his show, so we do it on our show. And pretty much, if you want to come on, shoot us an email, and we'll try and set something up.
I like to have the best guests on my show.
That's why it took 2 years for you to get on our show then.
Yes.
Right then? Matt gets quiet now. Look at him.
Yeah, now he's quiet. Usually we can't shut Matt up.
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
So, Steve, you do your podcast Geek Out Loud.
Sometimes. Not often.
What's Geek Out Loud all about?
Geek Out Loud was my reaction to the internet. It was, thank you so much. It did take me a while to get it started. This is what I've always said. I didn't know people had a problem with Ewoks until I got online. And when when I got online and heard people complain about Ewoks, and then when the prequels hit, and understand that I love the prequels, I grew up with Star Wars. I was born 4 months before the release of Star Wars, and so it's just always been in my life. And I love the prequels. I was there in '99, as a college kid, watching the prequels and watching Phantom Menace, and loved it. Loved every bit about it. Loved everything. And then I started hearing people like just trashing it back. I'm like, but they do that with everything. And I'm like, you know what? I kind of enjoy stuff. So rather than talk about what I don't like and what's so negative and what's so bad and what's so meh, I'm just going to have what I call a safe place to geek out, unless you're a Trekkie. And so it's really kind of been my response to the internet is I just try to be positive, have a good time, and laugh. And so we never really do any news. We'll editorialize on some stuff that's in the news about things. But generally, we end up just talking about fun stuff that we love, that we've been watching, or that, like I've gone through started a James Bond rewatch, or watched for the first time through the movies. Well, I'm sorry. A lot of times I end up spilling into Star Wars talk just on the fly because it happens. Superhero talk, the movie, like the movies that have come out this year, that sort of thing. And we just try to have a good time. Along with my co-host now, Derek, we try to find bits and funny things that we can do to make ourselves laugh. It's really all about self-entertainment for us, but people tend to listen and have a good time. So it's a geekoutpodcast.com.
There you go, that's the plug. Am I still on?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. Well, as long as you can hear me.
That's what matters.
And we have some other podcasters in our audience, actually. So let's start right here. You guys can come on up. We got Riley and Bethany. Let's go over here so that you guys are in the video. And you guys do the Star Wars report. Actually, you guys were just on Frontlines 3 or 4 weeks ago. So what's the Star Wars report?
I've heard it's a good show. I've heard it's a good show. People have told me. No, it's about an hour show where we do a show on Star Wars specifically. Although, kind of like Steve here, we don't delve a ton into the news. We kind of use Star Wars as a platform and see how it relates to us and our culture. And so we kind of drift from everything as it relates to Star Wars. So recently we've been talking a lot about the Clone Wars news, and especially some of the stuff that's coming up. And that's one thing I'm known for is I really get into some of the Clone Wars discussion. They have to, my co-host Mark, who's not with us, has to kind of shut me up occasionally and get in a little EU talk as well. But this is also my sister Bethany.
Hey everyone, glad to be here. I guess the Star Wars report, in a way, unlike Steve, but similar to Steve, the Star Wars report was a way for me to actually get online. And then I had my reaction to being online afterwards. But it's just a show where we have fun discussing Star Wars, news, EU, the Clone Wars, but mainly discussions, mainly our thoughts.
Cool. So what's the website for that?
Well, you can find ourselves at StarWarsReport.com.
Nice. Well done, sir.
That's called the Glosson intonation. Yes.
Patent pending, right?
Had to get on to Riley early on as they were like, quit stealing my jokes, buddy.
Cool, and then you guys have a podcast that's also on your website that these guys do.
These
Jason
crazy
and Cohen.
kids.
Yeah, so come on,
Coming up,
guys.
coming up.
All right, you forced me into it.
So this is Jason, who also does our intro. So that sultry voice that you hear at the top of every episode of Frontlines.
A long time ago, in a galaxy far, far away. Yes, that's
Jason locked his keys in my car, or in his car at my house, and we almost missed celebration, just so you all know.
That's not supposed to be public knowledge.
You put it on Facebook, it's public knowledge. Like Mike, you put it on the internet, it doesn't go away. Why is my mic really loud all of a sudden?
I don't know because...
You
Anyways,
weren't on the phone.
yes, we have a podcast. It's called the Wampus Lair Podcast. We actually are in the minority of podcasters in that we actually met each other before we started the podcast because Mike and Matt have never met each other in person, and they've been podcasting for what, almost 3 years now?
About 3.5 years, and we've never met each other yet.
Yeah, so we were inspired by Mike and Chris back there from Sarlacc Pit to start our own podcast because we just wanted to talk Star Wars. And we're like, well, if we're going to talk Star Wars, he lives in Boston, I live in Tucson, Arizona.
Woo!
So, yes. And that's not exactly next door. So we're like, well, we're going to Skype. Might as well record it and see if anybody wants to listen to two fanboys talk about Star Wars. So,
Do they want to listen to you guys talk about Star Wars?
I hope so.
We're
doing pretty good this is like our 6th month we're in right now. And I don't know, we have a lot of fun with it. I think we do something a little bit different. When I talked to Riley at Fan Days about thinking about starting the podcast, Riley and Bethany were like, well, like, that's awesome, but like, do you have anything unique? And I was like, probably not. But luckily we did come up with something. I mean, Jason and I like do really different topics from some of the other shows. Like we like to delve into like characters, like talk about how these people develop. We bring a lot of that stuff into it. So we go a little bit beneath the surface. Not saying that other people don't, but that's kind of like our little flavor. We stole a couple of things from the Sarlacc Pit and made it better. But so yeah, we're just having a lot of fun.
he said we could steal
That's my boy
it.
Carl.
Cool, well thanks.
Thank
So,
you.
and people can get it on iTunes and from StarWarsReport.com, right?
Yes, there are bosses. There are bosses, so yeah, StarWarsReport.com.
There you go. Cool, awesome. Thanks, guys.
Mike, is it actually stealing if they ask?
No.
I guess not. The consensus from the crowd
Unless
is...
they were told no after asking.
Asking's a formality.
So with I got my own panel and I decided that I'd just bring all my friends up here. So that's why I showed you guys all these other awesome podcasts that you can listen to. So if you're not listening to podcasts, you need to get into it because we all have awesome discussions about Star Wars. It's pretty much Star Wars Celebration, but just all the time.
It is totally wizard.
Yeah, and you kind of take it with you wherever you're going, you know, on your drive to work or whatever. So we just talk about Star Wars. We're all fans, and that's why we're here. So,
And you know, it's a good way to keep yourself sane too, especially if you get involved and like do your own podcast, because I used to just listen to Frontlines and start talking to myself. And so now that I get to be on the show sometimes, I don't feel like a nutcase. So that's
awesome. Okay, so we're gonna wrap up, and in wrapping up, we've got 2 prizes to give away. We have the first is gonna be a trivia contest. So,
No, ask Matt, he's got the question.
okay, so Matt's got the question.
Right, I did, right?
So we're gonna. Who thinks that they know the most about Savage Opress?
Whoa.
Yeah, oh.
I don't even know what that is.
Do I count? Can I compete?
No,
you can't compete.
I didn't think so.
You can't start the show with the intro and end with winning.
My phone knows.
Okay, so this might be a quickest fingers on the keyboard type of trivia contest. So Matt, can you ask the question?
Yes, this question is from season 3. The episode is Monster. Savage Opress ultimately killed his brother. What was his brother's name?
His brother's name. Has anybody got that?
I know that.
Yeah.
How do you pronounce it? Feral?
It's for, they pronounce it feral, but it's spelled feral?
No, they pronounce it feral.
Do they pronounce it feral? Okay. So for that, you win from the Savaggio Press screenings way back, if you remember. It's Inside Out. Thanks for throwing me a t-shirt that's inside out. I'm going to throw Crystal under the bus.
Thanks for trying it on before you give it away.
I actually have one of
I got your back. I got your back.
So it's the Savaggio Press exclusive t-shirt. So if you weren't at that screening, you couldn't have gotten one of these. So there you go. Oh, awesome. And you get the poster, the exclusive poster. So awesome. Cool.
Now, Savaggio Press, he's an alien.
He's a bit.
Yeah, right.
He's a bit.
Good one, man.
So let's do our last giveaway. Now, if you were wandering around C6 today and I found you, or Crystal found you, or maybe Steve or Kyle did, or even Chris, you had some as well at one point, and we may have handed you, and JC. I can't forget JC, of course, JC. We may have handed you a little handbill, and I told you that it's a raffle ticket. It's got a number on it there. And so we're going to do the draw right now. So who wants to pull this number out of here?
Kyle's going to pull the number out.
Kyle's going to pull the number, so it's his fault if you didn't win it.
All right, number 92.
92, are you in the house?
92.
You can fake it.
92, anybody, 92.
92? Anyone here? 92?
Anybody? 72.
If you flip it upside down, it kind of looks like 26. How about that one?
There you go.
Let's try another one. Pull another one.
23.
And at the time.
And Matt got it.
You sunk my battleship.
Okay, go again.
Maybe I should just pull out a handful and write it.
Just rapid fire.
35.
Should I take it?
We handed out a lot.
Going once, going twice.
Bring it up here.
I like how you assume that everyone that got one would be here.
25?
25. 25, 25.
Anybody that thinks they're the closest one to 25?
Oh, yeah. Who's
Oh, wait.
closest to
Well, we're
25?
Who's
closest to
92?
92.
I was close to 92.
Oh.
Okay, let's go back to 92.
Oh, what's this man over here, guys?
32.
32? Anyone closer to 25 than 32?
So we go back to the original one.
Oh, well, I say win a chicken dinner. Over that way.
There we go. So who was that? Who had 32?
32.
Over here.
Sorry?
He had 32 over here.
Over there? Okay, come on up and pick a t-shirt.
Just give it to him. Walk it over.
I can go. I can go there. I can get there.
Oh. Okay.
Cool. Well, that's pretty much it. That's our time. So thank you guys. Thank you, Kyle.
Thank
You
you.
really let that man talk right now.
Thank you, Chris.
Thank you, Michael.
Thank you, Steve.
Thank you, Michael.
Thanks, Matt.
Congratulations on 100 episodes, Matt and Michael.
Thank you. I was just on the 50th of the Sarlacc Pit, so.
Didn't even know it. I didn't even know it until we were
recording, yeah. I was maybe a little bit more prepared for 100, but obviously not that prepared for episode 100. But that's going to do it for us. So tune in to the podcast. It's www.clonewarspodcast.com. You can also follow us on Facebook. It's facebook.com/CloneWarsPodcast. You can follow us on Twitter. It's @CloneWars. And that's it. So we will see you guys the next time we record.